folks, here we are as promised with the third video of the Entrepreneurship Monthly Interactive KGEC eCell. This time, we are presenting before you the inspiring voyage of Learning While Traveling. Learning While Traveling is India's first online academy with an international faculty. They are strong proponents of maximizing the experience of practical learning while actually traveling the world and upgrading Indian entrepreneurs to a global standard. They have a spectrum of programs for various groups, ranging from nursery to startups. Most recently, they have moved towards online platforms for catering to a bigger audience, with the idea of getting young people into entrepreneurship early so that they maintain a viable startup ecosystem. Let us bring forth the sailor of the ship, Mr. Vishal Kumar. Mr. Vishal founded the company with the idea of upgrading education standards of individual amateur entrepreneurs valuably to an international standard. He is known for his positive and motivational attitude towards improvement of the quality of learning and a sense of adventure that knows few bounds. He graduated from IIT Kharagpur with geophysics and did his post-graduation on the same subject at the University of British Columbia. He has worked in oil and gas industries in Canada, Singapore, and Indonesia. Let's delve deeper into the funda of learning while traveling. Hearing the experience of sailing must sound enthralling right from the captain himself. Mr. Vishal, thank you so much for being here with us for this interview session. Our first question, sir, is how did your journey begin? Or how did the idea of your startup, Learning While Traveling, come about?
I decided that I would like to go for an MBA after doing corporate job for a while. And then what I thought was because of my budget constraint, I could do MBA from abroad, but not from US. But I could do MBA from Canada or Europe, and that was my budget, around 70-80 lakhs of tuition fee that I was having for MBA. And so I thought that if I'm spending 70-80 lakhs rupees for this MBA, why don't I visit these colleges once and make sure that where I'm going is suitable for me from other aspects also before enrolling for the course and committing for 1 or 2 years MBA. So then what I did is I actually planned a world tour of 100 days, made an itinerary, and I actually visited these B schools one by one, and I also attended their demo class. So in foreign countries you get a demo class as a free thing to just evaluate what that if the college is good or not good, and then you can decide if you wish to take admission from at that college. So I did this. I actually visited 31 B schools across 12 countries, and I could see a pattern that what these B schools are doing is they are getting all the intelligent people from all over the world and then making them kind of a captive in a cage and giving them group discussions, case studies, lectures, etc. And because of this networking and connectivity, the people do very well in the future. And obviously the college is a brand and things also, but this is what I thought. So I thought I might be able to do something like this without actually doing MBA. So we came up with a program known as International Startup Enrichment Tour, where we take startups and startup enthusiasts and we select them from all over India, from IITs, IIMs, other colleges, Xavier's, Shriram, etc. And then we just offer them to come to a foreign country for a 1 week to 10 days enrichment program. So this becomes like almost like a mini MBA in entrepreneurship for 10 days, 5 to 10 days. And this is how the idea of learning while traveling started. So eventually I decided not to do MBA and I saved the money. So my budget was around 80 lakhs and I used around 10 lakhs to travel the world. And rest of the 70 lakhs I saved for investing into my startup and starting a company known as Learning While Traveling.
This idea was quite unique at the time and still is. Given this, how did you build a successful customer base with this idea?
Money and GeoSIM business model. So a few years ago I visited India and I could see that my role model Mr. Ambani has given free SIM cards to so many people, and they gave like 3 months free offer extended to another 3 months, so 6 months of free offer, and everyone in India was okay, free. Made a like standing in the queue and all. They got this. So Mukesh Ambani is obviously very rich, and he could give it to the mass. I was not so rich, and like I said in my previous question, I had a budget of around 60-70 lakhs for my startup. So what I thought is, okay, Ambani could give it to the mass, but what about me now? So I thought, okay, let me give it to the class. And the way we separate the mass from the class is via competitions. And initially what happened is we actually conducted startup competitions in collaboration with various companies, local companies, outside companies, colleges, etc. And we did some of our events. Then later we realized that it's actually better just to sponsor events, just give this scholarship as a full scholarship trip or partial scholarship trip to people across college startup events, and that's how we were able to build the initial successful customer base. So very initial trip, if I can talk about it, was obviously the very first trip. We gave it pretty much 100% scholarship to most people, and we had it in Bangkok for a weekend. And after that we also knew that okay, now this is too much to give full scholarship trip. So we said, okay, we'll give more of a partial scholarship trip. So now our business model is more like we give flight ticket as a scholarship to selected candidates, and rest of the price of the trip they have to pay. And then these people influence other people, and we also accept online applications, and that's how we get more delegates on a full paid as well as smaller partial scholarship. So we follow this dynamic scholarship scheme, very similar to a plane, where you have the first seat that is sold for 2,000, 3,000, and the very last seat is sold for 12,000 or 15,000. But if the plane is full, overall the plane becomes profitable. So we have similar model. If we reach people, if we reach let's say 50 people who are on scholarship, and with their influence another 50 people who come on a bit lesser scholarship and even full price, overall we try to get profitable. So this is how we have planned our revenue. So overall things are cheaper for a lot of people, and we also get a lot of bulk deals from airlines, hotel industry, hostels, and various programs that we partner with foreign colleges and startup organization. So overall we could negotiate the deal because we have a lot of people, and so it becomes beneficial for all the parties. So that's how we have acquired our customer and aim to become profitable. Thank you.
So, sir, what are the unique selling points or USPs you have in learning while traveling?
Learning while traveling, STAR program, International Startup Enrichment Tour, has people from all over India, and last year we even had people coming from Australia who came to know about our program. So the guy flew from Australia and he joined our program in Singapore directly, and so getting this diversity of people from different backgrounds, different states, different colleges is the USP that we have in our program. So we believe that diversity is the thing, and with a great diversity there can be great learning, and just getting the diversified set of people, like I talked about in my very first question, that the global B schools do, can actually get people learn a lot of things from each other, and the least they get is a networking for lifetime. So that's our USP. We do give this international exposure to all youth and networking for a lifetime.
It is said that the greatest factor for success for people or companies is their culture or environment. What kind of a culture exists in your organization and how did you establish it?
So it is very simple. We believe that people who work for us should be believing in our idea and not just joining us for the money's sake. because money can be a driving factor for some time, but not all the time. And people who believe in our vision of giving this international exposure to all youth are the ones we are looking for. And we have been successful in hiring few country managers. We have hired operational manager. Our team is not that big, it's less than 10 people only, but we got a few brand ambassadors also who promote our products elsewhere. And the people who come on our excursions and these foreign programs also become our brand ambassador automatically, because then they tell to other people, etc. And that's how we have been following. That's our culture that we follow. And we have a bit of a flexible culture, work from home culture. I mean, things are flexible in a lot of ways, and we believe in rewarding our people by taking them on our trip together, and giving them partial discount or even full discount at times. So this is our culture.
Sir, with your experience in the field of business education for youngsters, what is your point of view regarding an ideal school or college ESL?
COVID times, what I realized is most ESLs are concentrating on just the Indian crowd and getting Indian speakers and targeting Indian startups. So an ideal ESL, in my opinion, would be the one who would conduct regular events. Let's say one event every month or every 2 months or every 3 months maybe, and also invite some foreign startups, foreign speakers, and even foreign delegates if possible. If not in the offline manner, they could even conduct an online event like that, which is very common in COVID days recently. And this can actually add a lot of value to their students. And who knows, maybe some of these international startups might find some partners through these ESL events in India. So they will get a kind of a soft landing in India. So this can be a suggestion for all the ESLs, and I am ready to help and collaborate with them if they wish to seek any help. And I am also connected to some global startup community, which I can refer to them.
Coming to the current affairs, the economic downfall in this coronavirus pandemic has had an enormous effect on the education and startup industry. How do you think we can cope with it?
Would be, or my take would be, that when there are a lot of problems, there is a lot of scope to solve those problems, and solving these problems is actually giving rise to a lot of startups. So what I believe is this pandemic is a great time to start a startup for a lot of people who are thinking that they are not able to get a job, or they are fired from the job, they have lost the job, they are very shattered. Might as well consider this starting a startup option or joining a startup. Even taking a salary cut might not be a very bad idea these days, because sitting idle might not be an option for people. So keep learning, keep upskilling, and you will surely succeed. So there is a saying that when there are a storm in the sea, the fisherman actually repairs their net. So do spend some time repairing your net. Thank you.
And lastly, sir, what advice would you give college graduates or youngsters who want to become future entrepreneurs?
To all college students is, do start something if you can, as soon as possible. The right time is now. If you are not that much of a risk taker, then join someone who is starting something. And if you are not that level of a risk taker also, then do join some startup as an intern. You will learn a lot of things. And so let me repeat the options again. Start a startup, first option, highest risk. Second is join a startup, join a friend who is starting a startup, second level risk. Third level is join a startup as an intern. That can be unpaid or paid, or incentive wise paid. And this will give you a lot of experience, a lot of learning. Just consider a situation. There are two guys, one who says, I have done this dramatics, sports, blah, blah, blah. And the other guy says, I have actually worked for a startup for the last 2 years. Who do you think the employer is going to hire? Obviously the guy who has some experience of startup, because that's a business experience. Not to say that the other guy doesn't have any experience, but that experience is not relevant to that employer, right? I mean, sports, dramatics, and those things are good, but usually those experiences are not so relevant. Another piece of advice is do join event, do try to raise some sponsorship for some events if you wish to be an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs need to be a good salesman at times, and raising sponsorship is kind of a sales job. So if you could uh, try raising some sponsorship or try doing some collaborations, etc., monetary, non-monetary, doesn't matter, but closing these deals is something you should learn. And also improve on your communication skill. Don't ignore your communication skill. That communication skill is something you will need throughout your life, and it's like a gym. It's not that you will develop a six-pack and stop working out and the six-pack is going to stay with you forever. You have to consistently practice and consistently indulge in various communication exercises. And for your information, we are also doing communication classes every day at 8 p.m. So if you wish to join that, feel free to connect with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vishal sir, for this motivating Q&A session. We wish you great success ahead. With this, we have reached the end of the third episode of the Entrepreneurship Monthly Interactive. See you again next month over another fascinating real-life entrepreneur story in their own voice. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more such enlightening content, especially curated with a vision to illuminate, inculcate, invigorate. To get notified first, hit the bell icon below. Till then, keep envisioning.